Hello, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is David Howe, and oh man, we've got a very special guest with us on this Season 2 finale episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris McKeever has joined us on the podcast tonight.
Well.
It's good to see you, Chris. Apologies.
Our day has finally come.
We'd apologize for not having played Disney Tsum Tsum Festival, but Patrick, what is the topic of today's show?
Yeah, as you may have guessed, if you're a long-time listener, on this episode 84 of our podcast, the end of Season 2, we are talking about the game that everybody is talking about right now on Nintendo podcasts, because it came out a year ago. Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
Justice will be served.
Yeah, we played it.
We did it.
Together.
We each, and because there's a pandemic on, we had to play it online, which meant we each had to have a copy of the game. So
we supported.
Also, I don't think there's more to it that we weren't able to play because we had to play online.
We'll be talking all about that.
Yeah. So right, Chris McKeever, Chris, you're here to talk about Disney Tsum Tsum Festival and our hands-on impressions of that game. But we've got so much news to talk about. This has been a crazy week to be a video game fan. There was a Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase that happened. There was a PlayStation presentation that happened. The Xbox, some big news came out around Microsoft and Xbox. We got the price for the PlayStation. We didn't have that a week ago. We got pre-orders have happened for both of these consoles. Other stuff too, but like it really feels like it's been more than a week since we talked about video games because of how much has happened.
It definitely feels like now is the best time to do a bit for an entire episode on our podcast.
it lined up perfect.
Just when there was nothing else happening in the games industry this week, it was the perfect time to do a Disney Tsum Tsum episode, I think.
That's right.
So if you want to skip right to Disney Tsum Tsum, look at the description in this video.
We got timestamps.
Skip to it. Yeah.
David, can you come back here in the future and say the timestamps to where they can skip to the discussion?
It's the season finale. There will be no David from the future in this episode. Saying it right now.
Well, we've been bantering for a bit, but is everybody doing all right? I mean, there's been a lot of gaming news, but there's also been some news too. Are we all doing okay?
I'm not very happy.
Yeah, it's been rough politically over the last few days, of course, due to the loss of notorious RBG. But you know, we're doing all right. I will say the most amount of stress I've had this past week was trying to buy those fucking Mario pins off of for the 35th anniversary.
Did you get the pins?
No, I have not been able to get the pins. I've tried. So I was able to pre-order an Xbox Series S perfectly fine, but these enamel pins from Nintendo have been giving me major problems. So my card wouldn't get taken. Sasha's card wouldn't get taken. Cena, who's been on the show before, he tried to help me out and use his card, and none of the payment would be taken. So I've got to call Nintendo, and I got to get these pins. But I knew something was going to fucking happen with these pins. Something always happens when they try to do cool things.
Well, we'll talk about all that because that's a relevant thing, or we'll talk a little more about that.
Sure.
But I think we should get into a couple shout outs and then get into the news, since there is so much, unless anybody else has anything else going on in their life they want to share. No.
Let's get to those shout outs.
It only matters how my week went.
Well, I don't want to talk about it.
First up, we want to shout out Dylan Muss, our friend from Geekverse, who posted on our YouTube and said in particular that, David, you talking about Spelunky 2 and Crosscode is speaking to their soul. I think they must love those games and they'd love to play some Spelunky co-op.
Oh yeah, I'd love to play some Spelunky co-op too. However, my PlayStation Plus has lapsed, so if we're gonna play online, I'll have to shell out for PS Plus. Good to hear from you, though, Dylan.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Dylan. And then we got an email from listener Andrew, and I don't know how to say your last name. I assume it's Musil. Andrew Musil. Thanks for shooting us an email. They had some comments about our episode on the Mario 35th anniversary stuff. They liked how we kept talking about the time limited release and that issue. And they also posed us a question, which maybe we can real quickly do. I don't have a good answer for this. They said, what are your favorite tracks from the 3 Mario 3D All-Stars games? Like, from the music player. They chose Gusty Garden from Galaxy, Inside the Castle Walls from 64, and Gelato Beach from Sunshine. But
wow,
I've never played Sunshine, and so I don't have a favorite music track. I haven't sat down and listened yet. But
well, I definitely have a favorite track from Sunshine. It's the whenever you're on like the floodless levels, like where they remove your flood pack, and it's like an a cappella version of like the do 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 do, like, and they do the whole like Mario theme, but like a barbershop quartet.
Yeah, it's all like is the music and all that like island music?
It is, except for that. It's like this like chill like it's seriously like a barbershop quartet singing the Mario theme. It's awesome. That's my favorite one from that.
I mean, Gusty Garden's got to be a favorite. For most of us from Galaxy, right? And Inside the Castle Walls is also just kind of like the quintessential 64 music, so I can see Mario 64 music, so I can see that one too. Though I like the underground remix they have in that one too.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Obviously, Gusty Garden is like the one everybody knows, but just the Galaxy soundtrack in general was like the first time they did a fully orchestrated score for a Nintendo game, and it sounds so good. Every song is a fucking bop on Galaxy. And then you got to shout out Dire Dire Docks, right?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, Dire Dire Docks is what a fucking banger of a song.
Yeah, I was playing it the other day, and I forgot that it like doesn't like the drums only kick in when you're out of the water, and it's kind of that nice little that's really nice.
It's so good. But that email was like an inspiration. Like we always talk about what's our favorite Mario song. Like for me, it's Steam Gardens, and we always debate whether Steam Gardens is better than Gusty Gardens versus Dire Dire Docks. Yeah. Which I say we should have an episode about a very objective episode all about the best Mario song.
Yeah, I'm down. There's some bangers for sure.
Yeah, so thanks for the email and the inspiration, Andrew.
Yeah, and Andrew also asked if they could get a Discord invite. We will send you one, but you should also be able to find one on our YouTube in the why can't I think of what you call that? The description for the episode. So check that out. And then one last shout out to our friend Lee Housen, who gave us an Apple Podcasts review. Thanks for doing that, Lee. And if you're out there listening, we'd love to get you to review our show or to send us an email like Andrew did, or leave us a comment like Dylan did. We love that kind of stuff.
So nice to get emails.
Yeah. And then let's talk about news. We got so much news. First off, we're going to start off with there was that special briefing that Nintendo had on September 16th, which was like an internal management meeting is kind of how they talked about it. But a lot of really interesting things came out of that. And in particular, I think one of the things that was getting tossed around a lot was that they talked about a next gen or another game system. And they also talked about how they want to use more, I don't know what the word is. I can't find the exact wording they used or the translation, but like more up-to-date hardware.
I think it's like cutting edge hardware.
Cutting edge, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much all but confirmed that a Switch revision is coming out next year, like in that meeting, which has been discussed quite a bit. Matt,
the Switch Pro
topic.
Switch Pro?
Exactly.
Keep it moving, guys. Keep it moving.
But it's straight from the horse's mouth. Like there will be some sort of Switch revision next year from Nintendo, which has been talked about, ad nauseum. So we can move on from that. But it's like whatever it is, it sounds like they're interested now in beefing up hardware, or maybe trying to get some sort of parity with these other systems. I don't know what you guys took from that.
That's definitely what it sounds like, which would be awesome if Nintendo wants to do that. That would be great.
Hear me out.
Maybe they just
hear me out.
Go for it.
Switch Pro 3D.
With like the 3DS style 3D,
Yeah.
or with glasses.
No glasses, but it works on your current television.
Okay.
They figure that out.
Yeah, they figured it out. They're geniuses.
A couple other quick things that were interesting about this is that Nintendo said that the during the last quarter, April to June, they had majority digital sales for the first time, I think ever, for Nintendo, and it was just barely, but it was like 50.1%. But like I think as we talk about some of the next gen stuff too, things are just kind of trending that way, especially in this time of COVID. And they talked about having 26 million paid Nintendo Switch Online accounts, which I don't know. I guess that's about a third or so of the people that have
users.
a Switch.
Yeah, that's a pretty good attach rate, honestly,
Pretty
considering the number of Switches that are out there. That's pretty awesome for
It
them.
might be more than a third, actually, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's like 60 something.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. I mean, it's clearly it was a good idea for them to do that, and keep it at a cheaper price point. It's not, you're not raking in the amount that you would get from like PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold or something like that, but they don't really need it, So it's like just having this little bit of extras goes a really long way.
And then they also announced at this that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase on September 17th. So this one was announced with a little bit more time than the one that was shadow dropped, and a lot more time than that one, and a little bit more than the other one, which was told 10 hours ahead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, what do y'all think? Is this the best partner showcase so far, arguably or objectively?
I was
You're
really
nodding your head?
missing WWE Battlegrounds.
Okay. Well, that's out now for Switch. So if you miss it so much, you can play it.
Well, okay. Someone had to make the joke.
I would say, yeah, this is pretty objectively the best partner showcase they've done.
Yeah.
Right? They opened really strong and they ended strong, and that's kind of all you really need.
That's what they need. And they opened with the Monster Hunter stuff, and they ended with the Ori and the Will of the Wisps, correct? I believe that was the ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the big ones, right? Two new Monster Hunter games coming next year, March and summer of 2021. Monster Hunter Stories is the one coming in summer, and Monster Hunter Rise, which is a Switch exclusive, I presume, mainline Monster Hunter game. Are anybody here into Monster Hunter? I'm not against it.
No,
I just am
the
not
Monster
into
Hunter
it.
style of like action RPG has never really spoken to me. It's always felt a little more like MMO balanced than I really want out of an like action RPG. So it's not super for me. I get the same kind of vibes from Xenoblade that I also get from Monster Hunter, right? And to each their own. Like I know a lot of people love them, and apparently the best way to play Monster Hunter is with people as well. So I'm sure if I played it with some other people, I'd enjoy it.
I just don't want to fight the same end boss for hours.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
I think this one looked pretty cool though. It definitely swayed me to be like, I might check this out, depending on how it shapes up in March and all that kind of stuff. What else is going on?
Well, it's not a port of a 3DS game, so it looks a lot better than the last one that's on the Switch, And it also looks like they took in a lot of stuff from Monster Hunter World, which got a ton of fans on board with the most recent like multi-plat Monster Hunter game. And so I think this is going to sell really, really well. I think both of these games are going to do really well. It's a good way to start the show.
And then obviously there was the Ori announcement, and then I don't know if anything else spoke to y'all, but I feel like we should at least mention Hades, the new Supergiant game, which a lot of people have been talking about on our Discord and enjoying. And so
David,
that seems to.
You've been playing Hades, right?
Yeah. I'll be talking about that later in the episode when we talk about the games we've been playing. But yeah, Hades is a great game, and it dropped, right like later that day on the announcement. So that was really cool. The Long Dark also released. That's been kind of a long anticipated Switch indie. I think it's also on Game Pass. But that was a good announcement. I'm very much looking forward to talking about it.
And I don't know that any of the other games are games anybody here is interested in, but if they are, then jump in. But I know Disgaea, is that how you say it? Disgaea? I've never really been able to say that one well. Disgaea 6 is coming out maybe a Switch, maybe just on Switch, or they didn't say, but I know that at least you presume that might be the case.
Mm-hmm.
A few other games, Balan Wonderworld, which looks just weird as heck.
Yeah, Balan Wonderworld. It's like a spiritual successor to Nights into Dreams by the same developer.
So that was cool. That we didn't. Then they did a Monster Hunter Direct after that, which was strange because it felt very repetitive. But they announced there's going to be some amiibo for these Monster Hunter games. And then everybody's been pointing this out, and so we have to talk about it. Much to Matt's surprise, we're going to talk more about Switch Pro. That, just like there was a Monster Hunter game that came out with the new 3DS, as I understand it. Maybe that there's going to be an updated Switch that comes out with this because of the timing. We've been hearing lots of rumors about end of March being when this Switch Pro is going to come out. And then this game comes out around that same time. There's the history of that happening. There's amiibo for the game. It just feels like a big game they might push. There could be like a console version, like a themed console or something at least. Maybe. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff happening in March that we know about so far. Like at the end of March, that's when the 3D collection will stop being sold. That's when Super Mario Brothers 35, whenever that actually even comes out, you can't play that past that point. So there's lots of weird stuff happening in March, and we don't really know why. And I think, a lot of people are speculating that that's when we'll see the Switch hardware revision.
So those were the directs we got out of nowhere.
David, please, Switch Pro.
I refuse.
It's official.
The Switch. It's still the Switch Mini, right? Not the Switch Lite. Yeah. Also, we have to give a quick shout out to Empire of Sin, which is like a mobster game that was shown off in the direct. I thought it didn't look very good, but it is made by John Romero, one of the creators of the original Doom. So,
right.
There you go. If you're looking to see what John Romero's been up to recently, other than just doing speedruns of Daikatana, check out Empire of Sin.
And then a couple things are going away. The Jump Rope Challenge little free game that they put out, Nintendo put out, it's going to be removed from the eShop at the end of the month, which is just a weird. Like, I don't think anybody's going to miss out on not having. I gotta
download that.
You should definitely stream Jump Rope Challenge.
I've played it a few times with my kid. It's not a bad thing to do on a rainy day or whatever, like to get him moving and stuff. But it's just a strange choice. Why they would just put it up for a couple months and take it down, or however long it's been.
It was free. I mean, they said beforehand, they were like, some of our employees just made this because they were bored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they just stuck it up. It's kind of been a strange thing from the beginning.
It has been a strange thing from the beginning. It just makes you wonder, what are they doing? Are they going to charge $5 for it or something? Who knows?
I gotta get this game.
Maybe, yeah. Switches that have a copy of this game on them are going to go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars in the future.
I got it. I left it upstairs. I left my Switch upstairs.
And my theory is that each one of these games has blockchain built in, like Cooking Mama.
and also the 3DS is going away. 3DS production is ending, or has ended, perhaps even. And so there you go. I guess.
Yeah.
Hard rip.
Yeah, hard rip. If you want to hear our thoughts on the 3DS, we have a whole episode, I think, called RIP 3DS. It's like over a year ago we did that episode, so check that out in our library. We talk all about the best games for the 3DS.
Yeah, if you want to rush out and get one before they start getting expensive.
They're cheap as fuck now.
Yeah,
now is a good time to get one. Yeah.
And then there's an in-game Smash tournament that's been announced, which is an unusual thing in terms of how it's happening. You can earn gold points if you're one of the top people. It's happening on September 26th. So I just think this is weird the way they're doing it. Nintendo versus Challenge Cup, which is like going to be in game. You can select from it. And partly why I bring that up as well is that, there's a lot of speculation about Smash character announcement. Are we due for one? We've been saying that for a while. Well, there's been in the past, we may have talked about this on the podcast. I feel like we have these 7-Eleven ads in Japan that tend to coincide when a new character gets announced. They put up these new ads with Min Min, and they're due to be taken down on October 4th. So a lot of people are speculating that there will be a new character announced somewhere in that time range between now and the 4th, give or take. And a lot of people are talking about Travis Touchdown right now as being the possible next guest for a variety of reasons. But
yeah, where does that speculation come from? Do you know?
One of the big ones is that he was asked about it and he said no comment, and that's not a very Suda thing to do, because in the past he's talked a lot about Travis being in Smash, and it was a question like, do you think Travis will get an amiibo, and do you think he'll join Smash? And he said no comment, and there was a few other things in terms of support to that apparently he and Sakurai are friends and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't know that changes anything. But that was the big one, is that this interview with him, he was not his normal joking self about it. So
all this stuff will be announced in the week that we're off.
And then I saw this news. I don't know if you all have seen this. There is apparently a fan-made Princess Peach hentai game called Peach's Untold Tale.
I gotta get that game.
There you go.
I gotta get that game.
They're about to remove it from the eShop, so you better go quick.
I gotta get it.
It's been online for apparently 8 years, and Nintendo is finally issued like a takedown order to them. And so, you better get it fast while you still can.
Nintendo is finally done fapping too.
You know what this means is that Nintendo is about to release their own Princess Peach hentai game,
right,
and they don't want any kind of fan competition muddling the user experience.
Just like Mario 99 and the Metroid remake or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, like another Metroid 2 remake.
There is one picture of Peach wearing a crown, sitting on top of a Goomba. I'll just leave. Close your ears, everyone. I just said it.
Make that our album art this week.
Done.
It just screams Disney Tsum Tsum.
Yeah. And then while we're talking about Mario, Peach, and all that, the Mario 3D All-Stars game came out, and while every other podcast is talking about that, we're talking about Disney Tsum Tsum.
Yeah.
But
priorities.
But some interesting facts around this. Go ahead. Do you have something there, Chris?
I can go if you don't want.
It really does sound like we're resentful of the fact that we're doing a Disney Tsum Tsum episode. We're not. I'm very excited to talk about Disney Tsum Tsum.
I think it's hilarious.
I also think it's funny. And at the end of every episode for the past 50 rough weeks, we've been saying, sorry, Chris McKeever. We've been saying your name every week, Chris.
I'm well aware.
Yeah, you're fucking staying here.
Anyway, back to Mario 3D.
Spoiler alert, I had a really good time playing it with you guys.
Yeah, it was nice.
The Nintendo data miner Oatmeal Dome, a couple things from them. They were sharing that there's been some rumors or speculation that the 3D Mario All-Star games were started development in March of this year. And there's, due to some data in there's some stuff maybe from February or March, the earliest. So that's pretty short turnaround, but it also kind of makes sense because they didn't do a ton to these games. They just kind of emulated them or what have you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes it kind of puts everything into perspective, knowing that they started production on these in March. You know what I mean? Because that to me says that they knew that COVID was going to shut everything down. And so they had to come up with something that could release this year to make up for the things that they knew were going to be pushed back because of COVID. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a fair theory to have.
Yeah.
And if it's true too, it's like those games leaked immediately as soon as they started working on them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was probably there was a fucking board meeting and they're like, what can we do? And they're like, let's put some of these games that people want on some emulators. and then somebody immediately tweeted Jeff Grubb about it or whatever. but it's like, yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot easier to excuse some of the like lack of features for it. You know what I mean? Not to just be a Nintendo apologist, but it's like the fact that, you know, they made their own custom emulators and had this sort of like blend of emulation and porting, like especially for Galaxy, kind of uses a blend of the two of those. Is you know, I mean, it's pretty impressive to, you know, really do that in 6 months total turnaround for this collection. You know, I think at least it explains why it's not like big, totally overhauled ports. It seems like something they just came up with this year, you know?
And on the topic of data mining from Oatmeal Dome, they were also saying that those emulators appear to incorporate a lot of features that the games don't need, suggesting that they might be, you know, it doesn't prove anything, but that there are some things that they would only need for certain other games, which might mean that Nintendo did this with an eye to either having a subscription service or some more games sold. We'll see if any of that happens eventually, right? Maybe. Mm-hmm. And then we have to talk. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, like, what do you got? So, I mean, it sounds like Nintendo is prepping the Switch right now for N64 games and GameCube/Wii games. Right? Like, what form do you guys think that would take? Like, do you think that those games would come to a NSO type thing, or would they be releasing those like on the eShop as, you know? Like they did really well releasing this, so it's like they could probably do well releasing like F-Zero GX or something like that, right?
Yeah, I can definitely see it swinging either way because I think they want those subscribers, but they just proved that they could at least take some of the bigger ones and sell them. But then how do you not have those bigger ones on a subscription app? So I don't know. It's got me scratching my head about what they're doing there a little bit.
Yeah, I think I theorized multiple different ways. I would want it to be on a subscription service. Mm-hmm. I wish it would come to NSO. And it would make sense that if they're putting in the time to emulate these hardware, that they can use that emulation for future reasons, be it single releases or streaming platforms. And it would make sense for Nintendo to try and compete for a subscriber base with a Game Pass or a PS Plus. But whether Nintendo will do that, as we all know, might be up in the air.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, either way, I mean, I think they've got a good thing going here. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at some of the data in Sunshine, because there's like a YouTube video that just kind of like breaks down the 3D All-Stars collection and like shows how they do it. And the way that they inject in like new high quality MP4s for the cutscenes, or just like single Lua scripts for textures or whatever, for upscaled textures. Like, it's pretty cool. And it seems like it would work really well for a variety of games. So whatever they do, I hope to see a lot of these games we haven't seen in a very long time.
And while we're talking about Mario 3D, we already talked about this a bit. David mentioned it, but there was sort of a debacle with the order of the Mario pins. They went live just the other day. Was it yesterday? I think it might have been yesterday. The day before we're recording this, September 21st.
I'll never forget.
And as soon as they went live, just like a couple of other things we're going to talk about, they were over. The system was overwhelmed / unprepared / had some glitches going on. David, you obviously haven't been able to even get yours ordered. Like, your code got messed up or something. Maybe
I tried to order these fucking pins for like 8 hours yesterday. I mean, that wasn't the only thing I was doing. I was like working while constantly trying to do it. But it's like, they said it was going live at 2, and then it went live at like 1:30. I'm talking Central Time here. And so I was like, oh no, I'm afraid they're going to sell out, which they did sell out. Like, if you try to do that, if you try to get a code to do them now, even if you did all the missions, they're no longer available. So I think apparently some people have been talking to like actual Nintendo reps. I haven't done that yet, but apparently if you got a code, like, they will honor that, which is good to know. So I need to call them and be like, here's my code. I tried for a whole day and it didn't work. But it's like, yeah, it was exactly like everybody feared. And that's why it got overrun at the beginning, is because people like are used to stuff selling out within 10 minutes on Nintendo stuff or less.
Or limited things like this.
Yeah. And then Nintendo time and time again, like, does not prepare their servers or their storefronts for that.
Like in the Depression.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like a pin stamp line. Yeah.
Like when you would line up. Yeah, exactly.
For your pins.
For your pins.
Yeah, you know. That's the thing that the Depression is famous for. Everybody needed pins.
Had to melt them down for the war to make rifles.
So this feels like forever ago, but there was a PlayStation event that happened on September 16th.
Of this year?
Of this year. Where we finally learned the price of the PlayStation 5, and as well as a few game announcements and things, which we'll talk all about. But the price was a big thing. I guess they showed off. They opened with Final Fantasy 16. That was kind of a big get, which seems to be a semi-console exclusive. I guess you could. I don't know what you call it when it's also going to PC, but it's just
console exclusive.
Console exclusive for Sony. Showed some more of the Spider-Man.
Is that a console exclusive or is that a timed exclusive? Like, did they say it's only coming to PS5 or?
It's not entirely clear at this point, but it sounds like the way it's being talked about is console exclusive. That's also coming to PC. I don't know. And then they showed some more Spider-Man. They showed Hogwarts Legacy and the new Harry Potter game, which I guess we've heard about this before, but like the game looks pretty cool, but it's a shitty time for that franchise, as probably a lot of y'all know. But if you don't, J.K. Rowling is transphobic and vocally transphobic on social media and stuff, to the point where
I would say obsessively transphobic.
Yeah, to the point where it's hard to ignore, and it's hard to be a fan of that franchise if you're not also transphobic or something, which hopefully most people listening aren't, but so that sucks because the game looks cool and but it's like, I don't know if you want to support that. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it sucks because it's like the game looks great. Like, there's nothing wrong inherently with the Harry Potter universe. You know what I mean? Like, it's still like a delightful, magical world for children to enjoy. And I'm sure all the people that worked on this game, have been working on this for years with their blood, sweat, and tears to make like a really good product. But you do also know that like every copy of this game that is sold, like part of it will go to J.K. Rowling's pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For her like turf fund.
Right.
But so it's, I don't know. I think it looks good. I might be checking it out. It kind of depends, but it definitely looks like the Harry Potter game that like everyone has always wanted. You know what I mean?
There were a bunch of other games shown off. We don't have to go through it in detail. There was some new Demon's Soul, Devil May Cry, a teaser for the next God of War game. If there's anything y'all want to talk about, please jump in now about any of those games. But I feel like the big thing is the price and sort of some of that stuff. Anything on the games front y'all want to mention that we didn't talk about?
Not necessarily about the games themselves, but like with the presentation, like I thought it was weird how none of the games like had release dates in the videos. Like in the trailers, like Demon's Souls is a launch game, right?
Yeah.
But then whenever it like the trailer ended, it just faded to black without being like available at launch or whatever. And I think that just kind of proves to me that this was like a very old presentation. You know what I mean? That they pushed back to this time and then just didn't re-edit or didn't bother to go into Premiere and add the date or whatever. Yeah,
that's definitely one of the several vexing things about the way this all shook out, which is it's been very unclear what games will be there at launch and why they didn't make that clear.
Enough about the games. Let's get to that money, baby. How much does it cost?
So the PlayStation 5 is $500, $499, and the one with the one without a disc drive is $399. So you're paying $100 for that disc drive. Because that's the only difference.
That's it.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean the disc drive, you're really only paying the disk
Right.
drive could probably
The
only cost like
cost.
$20. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like for them to put it in there. So it's like they're probably taking I think both console manufacturers are taking a huge loss
Yeah.
on consoles this generation. Like I'm sure PlayStation is taking a loss at 500. I'm sure Xbox Series X is taking a loss at 500. You know what I mean? And then having essentially the same exact thing minus like a $10 to $20 disc drive being removed for an entire $100 less.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. That's why they're making games $70 this generation.
Well, and yeah, even if they weren't $70, which is another thing we should talk about, but like they're going to make that money back on their 30% or whatever of all game sales or more if it's a first party thing or whatever.
Especially if it's digital only, then you have to.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
I personally would pay the $100 for the privilege to fill my house with physical shit.
I've been to your house too. You got lots of physical media.
I got so much physical media.
Is that how you prefer to buy your games? Do you buy your Switch games physically?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just slowly leaving physical media.
Yeah.
I got rid of my CDs in like 2013. So
Okay.
DVDs
You just
might be next.
Got rid of them, or you just stopped buying them?
I sold them to like a CD shop.
Oh, okay.
I let them
I got rid of them. I
I
straight up got rid of all of them.
I set them free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in a CD shop upstate.
I kept some weird rare stuff, but like anything that was, available on Spotify, I didn't need anymore.
I didn't pre-order the PS5. Did any of you pre-order the PS5?
None.
No,
Yeah,
so we
me
should
either.
talk. But they didn't announce that the pre-orders were going to happen.
Right.
They just happened.
Before we moved to pre-order stuff, I felt like comparing this PS5 presentation to Microsoft's, it was weird of the strategy of how they're presenting games also coming to PC, which
Mhm.
Microsoft celebrates the PC releases as well with Xbox releases.
Right.
But with Sony's, it was Resident Evil 8, console exclusive, asterisk at the bottom, also coming to PC.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
really small font at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, which is such a weird thing to say. Like, if Sony's going after like the exclusive big games, they're trying to market exclusivity, but they're also want to give a little scraps under the table to the PC crowd
Yeah.
in the form
Well-
of text. It's just weird strategy.
yum,
It's
yum,
way
yum.
different.
I mean, we've talked about it a million times, but it's like, PlayStation wants you on their hardware. They want to sell you that hardware, and they want to sell you the digital version also, so that you'll buy stuff on their shop and be loyal to them exclusively through that platform where they can price gouge or whatever, right? And Xbox just wants you to subscribe to Game Pass. That's all Microsoft wants, right? We'll obviously be getting to that in a little bit. But it's like, it makes sense that they would be more champions of PC because they've got Game Pass for PC. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you play this stuff. They don't care if you play it on your phone. But yeah, it's wacky. Anyway, sorry, you could continue. If you...
Do y'all think that it's a better deal for the developer? Like they're willing, you know what I mean? They're willing to make Sony doesn't have to pay as much, or like if they're like, well, you can also release it on Steam, I guess. I
don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they've done a couple of these now, right? Like, I mean, they did Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, and there have been rumors about God of War coming to PC as well. And so it's like they're doing it. I think they just don't know exactly their strategy for it yet. So they're kind of keeping it on the hush while they figure all that out in the background. But they still have to announce that they're coming, otherwise nobody will buy them.
And then there was the pre-order things, which was a big debacle as well, where the availability was tough. The notice didn't really exist. They had made some sort of like, you can sign up and then we will let you know and that kind of stuff. And they didn't. Obviously, they have since tried to give those people some options, but like it was just a big mad rush. And just like the pins and like something we will talk about in a minute, the Xbox version of this too, it's been tough to pre-order these things. There's obviously a huge demand for this. People, just like the Great Depression, people are lining up for their video game consoles.
But also, just like the Great Depression, people are lining up for those NVIDIA 3080s.
That's right. It's not just the... Yeah, so...
But unlike the Great Depression, people in these lines drop $500 instead of getting soup to feed their family.
I think what this...
Now that you pointed out, I do see the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's so this is where this is interesting, right? Because this happened with the Xbox Series console as well, right? But like, I think this shows just how big gaming is right now, because a lot of people are, not able to engage in a lot of their other hobbies, and obviously a lot of people have lost their jobs and don't have money to spend on these things, and even if in previous times, not everybody could just go out and drop $500. But for people that have more disposable income, this is where they're spending their money right now, right? On in-home entertainment.
Everybody's always talking about how it's like, oh, a lot of people have lost their jobs and they're not going to be able to afford these consoles. But there are just as many people in the US, if not more, that have been working from home this entire time, like in the US, and aren't spending money by going out every single weekend or whatever, or don't have to, spend money at the roller rink for
whatever.
the kids or whatever. Right. And it's like, instead they're like, I have this stuff that I can throw around now. And so we're seeing, this is going to be a huge launch, and they're not going to be able to keep up with numbers.
Yeah. And we're jumping ahead here, but yeah, Xbox said that they have been having record-breaking pre-orders. The one thing before we get into the Xbox stuff, though, I did want to talk about, you mentioned briefly, is this game price increase, that in particular in the US, games for next generation, at least on PlayStation, and I presume that this is going to be true on the Xbox as well, are $70 now, which I think is fine. Like, I recognize that that's like we just talked about, not everybody has money for this kind of stuff, and that might be really tough for somebody who has to save up a lot to buy one game. But I do think games have been underpriced for a while. I mean, that $60 price point's been there for a long time. And obviously there's been DLC and microtransactions to make up for it, and those aren't going to go away. So but if a game's riddled with those, I might think it's not fine. But like, I don't know. I think maybe that's just the right price, or I'm okay with the price hike. How do y'all feel about that?
I feel that it's a natural progression, because even some N64 games were also $70.
Yeah, Star Fox 64.
Yeah,
came with a rumble pack.
It had an accessory.
Sorry,
that
Matt.
shook your hand.
Sorry, Matt. Continue.
You leave us speechless, Chris, with your facts.
Just dropping knowledge out the dome.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah, what TLDR is. Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you're right. Like, and that and not only that, like, there were Super Nintendo games that were like $70-$80, like back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was in the 90s, and there's like been inflation,
right, like
ever since then, and the budgets for games have gone up so much more than they used to be then. So it's like, it makes sense.
How much was Earthbound? Remember, that was like,
it was like $80 or $90. Yeah,
right.
I remember Game Boy games costing like $40 or $50 too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
so.
and it's been needing to happen for a while. It's just like, it's just a little like, because now we're getting into a digital. They're trying to rope people into buying these consoles where you can't buy used games for cheap. You know what I mean? And then that's when they're raising the price.
Yeah, you can't resell
your
your game later.
Right.
And the other caveat here too is that we're talking about North America, $70, but I understand that in Europe and Australia and maybe some other regions, the price hike is greater. It's closer to closer to $90 in some places, which that's a big increase.
In Australia, they're like over $100.
That's nuts. So that I might start taking issue if it was that big of a jump, but.
Do you guys think that Nintendo will raise the price of their games?
Yeah, I do. I mean, maybe not like if there is a Switch Pro or there's some, tipping point like that, then yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah. Do you think that's what happens in March?
Yeah. Hey, we raised the price. Yeah. Like the game went away because now it's $70.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But let's talk about Xbox. So they had their pre-order. They announced it in advance, so it seemed like it might go a little better. And I guess maybe it did because of that. But there were still stock issues and lots of people not being able to do it and that kind of stuff.
Raise your hand if you pre-ordered an Xbox this morning.
Just David?
No,
no.
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, Matt, your virtual background was hiding your hand.
Yeah, I couldn't see it.
We're on Zoom. Yeah, I thought it went ultimately pretty smooth. I mean, like I ended up getting mine on Target, and I wasn't actually sure that I got it at first. I got a Series X. Excuse me. I got a Series S, the $300 variant. And I wasn't even sure it went through because Target was kind of like going up and going down. And I know you were having some issue as well, right, Matt?
Yeah, I think I didn't pre-order a Series X until it started at 10 a.m. Central Time, probably until like 10:45, 11, until my pre-order went through. But that 45 minutes, boy, oh boy, it was an adrenaline rush trying to spend my money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Microsoft's site was down.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't even... Like I tried to refreshing the Microsoft site, and it was just not working at all.
And this is where that record-breaking thing comes in, right? Yeah. What were you going to say?
I just think generally the frustration is like I'm so surprised we don't have a modern queuing online system for major retailers like we have for cell phone providers. If you're pre-ordering like the newest iPhone or the newest Pixel or something like that, they just give you a number and you can pre-order it, and the shipping times change retroactively.
Right.
Yeah, that too. Right. Like I'm sure that a lot of people doing this want it on launch day, but there's probably some people that are like, I'd be fine if it came out or if I got mine a month later or whatever, but then you can't. Yeah.
Mine should be coming in within like a 5-day window or whatever. And if it's a little late, that's fine. I'm just glad I will be able to have one this holiday. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know, I do think that GameStop tried to do some sort of queuing system because I was refreshing GameStop as well. And at one point it was like, you're in a queue. Don't refresh this page or you'll get back to the end of the queue. But then the page just went away. I was like, oh man, you were so close to having that work out. But yeah, so it's either way, it went smoother than the PS5 pre-order situation, and at least knowing what time and day it was going to go live made it a lot easier for people than rather just being like blindsided, seeing a text from their friend and then seeing that everything is sold out everywhere. You know what I mean?
And one of the reasons it was so record breaking and everybody was trying to get an Xbox, at least probably one of the reasons, is the big news that came out about Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax, which is the parent company of Bethesda and a few other development studios. So this is huge. I don't think there's ever been anything of this magnitude in terms of acquisitions of studios. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, or if there's something that this is akin to. It's more akin to like Disney buying, Marvel or Fox or something. Yeah. So Microsoft now owns Bethesda, and they've said that all these games are going to come to Game Pass. So that makes Game Pass a much sweeter deal, another reason to get an Xbox, knowing that, Starfield and the next Elder Scrolls games will be, available on Games Pass. That's crazy.
And you'd imagine that like ZeniMax and Bethesda's like entire catalog will probably move over to Game Pass.
Be there,
as
soon as this all goes through, which I don't think it officially goes through until like January or something. But and it also makes you wonder, like, will the next Elder Scrolls game be an Xbox exclusive, whether in whatever way that is, if it's timed exclusive or, why wouldn't they do that? Right? Like just make it on PC and Xbox. Though apparently they're going to honor whatever deals they currently have, the ZeniMax studios, like for Deathloop and stuff like that. But and Phil Spencer has even said something about like, they'll judge it on a case by case basis, which, so I imagine that means they won't put them out everywhere, at least not at first.
We'll still see like Doom Eternal on Switch and stuff like that. And I mean, and Microsoft has been friendly with Nintendo. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll continue to see some support for the Switch going forward, but also they don't need to. And in fact, they probably shouldn't for some of these, you know what I mean? If they want to make the acquisition worth it, like, you're going to want these to be big Game Pass sellers,
Totally. I mean, any thoughts on this just broadly? I'd love to hear from you, Matt. Like, what do you think about this deal?
This is just crazy.
Yeah.
It's $7.5 billion in cash. I think, David, you said it best in Discord when you're like, we always forget that how big Microsoft is. They just got so much fuck you money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony has like a paltry $50 billion. You know what I mean? Microsoft, however, is $1 trillion company. You know what I mean? Like they can just throw this shit around. Like this would be this would be like almost a fifth of Sony's entire like budget, in order to acquire something like this. And this is a drop in the bucket for Microsoft.
I'm using Microsoft products right now.
But it's like, yeah, it's a huge get. And it's like, and I don't think we've seen a lot of like Microsoft dipping into their coffers in order to help out the games division like this in the past. You know what I mean? This is kind of breaking new ground. I think the thing that really woke them up to it was, hey, we're trying to make the fucking Netflix of games right now with Game Pass. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's something worth investing in. You know what I mean? Like for the rest of the company to be like, yeah, let's put this money into the games division now if we could start to really grow this and be the next big thing like that.
Yeah.
And it's working. I mean, this is even before the Bethesda announcement. Since April, it went from like 10 million Game Pass subscribers to 15 million. That's what I mean? It's working. Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say something, Matt?
I was just going to say, Todd Howard found yet another way to sell Skyrim.
That's true.
And this may not be the end too. There were some interviews with the Microsoft CEO. Speaking of like, this goes all the way to the top of them saying that they might buy some more companies, like for this reason, probably, right? You're probably like maybe they were never huge, supporters of the Xbox, especially once, maybe Xbox One didn't do so well, but when this Netflix of gaming thing, they're like, we could see the value of investing in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was fake when I read it online.
Yeah.
That's how much of a big deal it is. Because now Microsoft owns Elder Scrolls, as we said, Fallout, Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein, Dishonored. Yeah. So many good games.
Yeah. And then whatever else those game developers make. You know what I mean? It's like Microsoft almost has as many, if not more, studios than Sony owns at this point. And that's really only been in the last 5 years. They've been doing this huge push to get people within their family, developers within their family. And then Sony's over here trying to do 1 year console exclusivities on a game by game basis. And Microsoft's like, fuck it, we'll buy the entire fucking distributor. It's just crazy, man.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it was. And it's crazy that, it's like when Star Wars sold to Disney and when Marvel sold to Disney and 20th Century Fox, there was rumblings about this forever, before those huge, multi-billion dollar deals, there were talks about it. And then this was just bam, it just happened on a Monday. I don't know. I guess, do you think they did this because Halo got delayed?
Man, maybe.
They need a reason to sell those Xboxes.
Definitely, whether or not that's why, I don't know. But this definitely flipped the whole next gen, between Sony's missteps and unclear messaging about something we even glossed over, which some people were upset about, which was that some of these games are going to come out to PS4, even though they said that they weren't. Like some of the Sony games, which is something people were giving Halo shit about.
Yeah.
That this now seems more like an even playing field than it has.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I read this, I bought 3 years of Xbox Live Gold and converted it to Game Pass, and then got an Xbox the next day. So it's I don't call me a cuck, but I just it worked on me, man. I totally bought into it.
Well, you're a cuck.
Yeah, thank you. It's all I needed to hear, though, man. It was I don't need to buy a PS5 right away. I have a PS4 already, but it's the value is just there, and it's getting bigger. And with EA Play and stuff coming to Game Pass as well, the value is only going to keep increasing over time.
And this was a strategic timing announcement too.
Yeah,
a couple days before the pre-order.
After Sony's.
Oh yeah.
After Sony's announcements.
Yeah.
All of that. It's very strategic.
Y'all remember GameFly?
Yeah, I do. Do you guys remember Movie Pass?
the Netflix for games.
So whenever we were talking about this in our Discord and the Facebook group, a lot of people were like, "This is bad," and I get why people think that, obviously, because you're afraid of monopolistic tendencies in corporations buying up independent developers and stuff like that. It's not necessarily a good thing. However, what do you guys think? Because it's like part of me thinks that this is kind of like a good thing, for the entire industry, because this is going to create like more competition between Sony and Microsoft in the console space. And I feel like competition can only really be a good thing whenever you've got, pillars like that.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about that?
You don't want to ask me. I'm a socialist.
You only support the Pico 8.
Sounds like something a cuck would say too.
Yeah, true. I'm a bootlicker.
I think, David, I agree with you from a hardware perspective of like, of course it makes it better competition between Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. But also from a software perspective, we are now limiting the number of studios that release AAA or AA or single A games to less and less studios, which does decrease competition, which is generally bad for the consumer, because now they, instead of having, 4 choices, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and PC. I guess PC might be Microsoft in some cases. Now it's limited to 3 or less.
Right. But I mean, isn't it pro-consumer to have a lot of games on a service that is cheap and affordable?
Probably for the first 2 years of it. But once they start acquiring more and more data, more and more content, just like what Netflix is doing right now, like everything's on Netflix, which limits the kind of the power of the other services.
Yeah, I think it's, sorry to interrupt, but I think it's a wait and see. Microsoft is saying that they're going to give Bethesda the space and time to make the games that they, are good at making, which could be a really good thing then if they are patient and, can support them. But if they end up doing, rush, it's kind of like depends on what they do with these IPs and that kind of stuff. And I think it's kind of like when Epic put up their game store. I've heard somebody else say this. It's like when they're spending money to get people to, not put their games on other platforms, kind of like what Sony's doing.
Right.
Then that's maybe not that great. But if they're buying studios to make more games and using that money that way, then maybe that is good. I don't know. I think we'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see how it shakes out, because I could see it going both ways, right? I don't know. I just hope it's in the good timeline. And for now though, it's like shit, man. I mean, I had to buy Game Pass. It was like this was kind of the tipping point for me. It was like, if I can, play all these games easily in one place, for an upfront fee or a monthly fee that's like negligible, then, that's pro-consumer to me.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle Baker, who was also, we were having an in-depth discussion on Discord about this. So
yeah,
I want to say that too.
We've got a couple more things. We'll try to go through these quick because this has been a long news section, but
it's the longest news segment ever.
Yeah, it might be. We've talked about, in the Tencent and the Chinese company Tencent, and there's obviously like TikTok has been banned in the US and that kind of thing, and now the game companies like Epic and Riot Games where Tencent has a decent chunk of the stakeholders in that, or is a big percentage they own a big percentage of those companies. They've been getting letters from what's called the CAFIUS, which, as I understand, is the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, and I guess they're trying to figure out, is this a security issue and that kind of stuff. So who knows what that will lead to, but when the initial of this isn't going to affect those things, well, maybe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really starting to clamp down on Chinese influence in media in the US.
Yeah. And we're kind of rushing through these things, but real quickly also close us out. Talking about Netflix so much, there's been rumors of a Legend of Zelda series or something on Netflix for a while, but that's kind of getting hot again, and that there's been rumors that there's either a movie and or a TV show, and in particular that Tom Holland is allegedly being looked at to play Link in the Netflix Legend of Zelda series. If you don't know who Tom Holland is, he's the most recent Spider-Man. What do y'all think? Would you want Tom Holland to be your Link? Do you want a live action Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, nothing would make me hornier.
Nothing, Chris? Nothing else would make you hornier.
Nothing.
What about a live action Disney Tsum Tsum movie?
We'll talk later. We'll take it off. We'll take it offline.
No, I don't want a live action Zelda movie. I don't want a live action Zelda show.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I was a kid, I did. That sounded great. I'd like something animated. I'd like something anime. I think that could be cool.
Give me the Sega CD Zelda games and the Sega CD Zelda games.
I just don't think that this is true. I think this is bullshit. Personally, there's like lots of old news articles that this article references about how like Adi Shankar, who like is one of the producers on Castlevania, is like working on Zelda, but there's also like tons of articles about Adi Shankar making a show out of like every single video game IP. And so it's like, this is just one of a million rumor mills about what Adi Shankar is working on. So while this would be cool, I think that Link, Tom Holland would be wasted on playing Link.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think I think that you should, if you're going to do a live action, you should get a nobody. If it's going to be animated, you don't need Tom Holland. You know what I mean? And I don't think that this is happening anyway, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. We know Tom Holland. We need Daniel Craig as Link.
Daniel Craig as Link, I would watch.
Well, yeah. To your point,
I would watch Idris Elba as
about
Link.
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Idris Elba as Link.
To your point about it being bullshit too, like I think in that management meeting Nintendo had, they said that, the Mario movie's on track for 2022. I don't think they're going to be announcing any Legend of Zelda show or movie before they see how that goes.
So, yeah, they're doing a sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes, that's what it is.
They're doing
Illumination.
They're doing a sequel to Minions, and it's in the Super Mario Brothers universe.
Is John Leguizamo coming back?
No, it's Tom Holland playing all the characters.
Tom Holland would make a great Yoshi.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if this happens, I'll definitely watch it. I'd love to watch it. But yeah, I think it's bullshit.
All right. Well, that's our news segment for the week. When we come back from a brief break, we're going to be talking about what you all have been waiting for. The Disney Tsum Tsum Festival episode is finally here. Disney Tsum Tsum Festival was announced in February 2019 at Nintendo Direct presentation, and it came out globally on November 19th, 2019. And shortly thereafter, Chris McKeever, here, our guest today, came on to our show and challenged us to play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival. And it's now been 9 months since that challenge was issued. And
we have birthed a great moment.
We have birthed a great moment. It happened. We got together on the evening of September 16th online, and we played Disney Tsum Tsum Festival. Chris, why did you challenge us to play this game?
What do you did you not have a good time playing it?
I just thought maybe
because I had a great time playing it with you.
Maybe we could get into the background of it. Like you're a fan of Disney, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Disney. That is fair. I'm mostly a Disney parks guy.
You're an AFOD.
Yeah, I'm an AFOD. I'm mostly a Disney parks guy, but I like the movies and all the other stuff too.
Okay.
Can you tell us briefly what a Tsum Tsum is?
Yeah. So Tsum Tsum is like a little stuffed animal that's sort of shaped like a sausage. You would think it would be a dog toy, but it's for people. And I to be honest, I don't know if Tsum Tsum exists outside of Disney. I think it does, but they just have a Disney license, and it got really, really popular.
It's like a blind box toy, right?
Yeah, it's a blind box toy. Yeah,
Right.
And it's a very Japanese thing too, right? Is that true?
Yes.
The whole Tsum Tsum phenomenon?
Yeah, it did come over here as well. There's a lot of weird, like, cuddly shit that came from Disney Japan to, like, eventually come over to America.
Something we discovered while playing the game was University, which is a group of teddy bears that go to college with Disney characters.
Yeah, there are two characters in the game named Whip and Puffy, and I didn't know who they were. So we ended up doing a little bit of research, found University, which is apparently a television show in Japan only, where Mickey and his friends make teddy bears that they keep around, and Mickey's teddy bear's name is Mocha, which is fucked up because Mickey already has a teddy bear and his name is Duffy.
If we haven't lost you yet, thank you so far for listening to this episode of Super Switch Headz. There's more goodness to come.
You guys, if I can indulge you in a Duffy trip real quick.
Oh my god!
No, it's okay. We don't have to do this. I have something to show you later, though.
Okay, let's just get to like kind of this game, right?
Okay.
Enough with the Tsum Tsumiverse. Okay,
how much does it cost, baby? What's the cost on this game?
Let's talk money.
This is a $60 game.
Yeah,
but
this game is developed by Bandai Namco. Right, and you know that because there is a Pac-Man.
Yeah, the only non-Disney character in this game is Pac-Man.
Yeah, I don't care for the Pac-Man.
It's weird.
I just remember seeing this on the Nintendo Direct, right? And
it jumped out.
It jumped out, and it was just like, what the fuck is that, right? And then they announced that there was going to be a Switch specifically made for this game in Japan, which is like the hardest Switch to come by. Apparently, it's like a collector's item. But there is
I gotta get that game.
So I think before we get into our impressions of the gameplay, of which we have several, I think we should maybe break down why this game exists. And I'll start. So, so I think that Disney wanted to make a Switch, but they needed a game to go along with it, so they made this game to sell the Disney Tsum Tsum Switch. Because I haven't heard of anyone in the States buying this game.
4 of us bought this game. What the fuck do you mean you haven't heard of anyone in the States buying this game? We all own this game, David.
That's true. No, we do all own this game.
It definitely feels geared towards the Japanese audience for multiple reasons, which we can talk about, but one of which is this University thing. There are characters in this game that, like...
Yeah, I was not familiar with University, but I bet I will be in 3 years.
Yeah. Just hit up Tsum Tsum Mommy. I think was that her name?
Oh yeah, Tsum Tsum Mommy rules.
Yeah,
Tsum Tsum Mommy's tight as hell.
If you need a refresher on Tsum Tsums, just check out Tsum Tsum Mommy. On YouTube.
we talked about in our licensed game episode, we talked about how Disney games are often pretty good, but I don't know that this one is.
Uh-oh. Chris is about to fight you.
But like this didn't feel as...
Oh, you didn't have a really fun time playing?
I had a fun time, but that's because y'all were there.
What defines a good game?
Well, I will say my favorite part of playing the game with you, Chris, was you saying do a countdown to make sure we go to the right menu at the same time in order for us.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
We do have to talk about that.
So this is not going to be very organized. This is going to be more like this is going to be like a Naked Lunch-esque just string of thoughts that come out of our mouths.
As if you could have it any other way with me here.
Yeah. So like we said, there is still a pandemic going on, so we didn't all get together to play this game. much to my chagrin. What we ended up doing was playing this game's online mode.
Also robbing us of the full experience of the Disney Tsum Tsum.
Yeah. And we'll
want
get
to be
to that.
very clear about that.
We'll get to that in a second. Because this game does have online, which is very surprising in a collection of mini games like this. This is a game that you would think would just have local multiplayer, right? And these games would all be better local multiplayer, but you can play them online to varying degrees of success. But the funny thing about
Remember
it is,
that you said that.
yeah, there is zero like playing online with your friends in this game.
Right.
It is all random matchmaking. However, because we are the only people in America that own this game, whenever we would go to a mini game, the only other people playing online were us. So we were able to play easily
every single time.
And because they have made it separate matchmaking for every game,
for each individual
rather
minigame.
than like Mario Party or something where you would play, a randomly determined minigame, which is how it probably should have been, right? Like to keep the player base intact. Like
I'm gonna, what as a thought experiment, I'm going to open up Disney Tsum Tsum right now and see if I can get any matches online.
I don't think you're going to be able to.
Probably not.
But yeah, that's
just going to let it run until you get one.
Yeah.
Oh, it only goes for 30
it'll just
seconds.
fill it with spots.
It's 30 seconds.
Good to keep refreshing.
It'll fill it.
That's
with
why
spots.
there was the countdown, because he only had a 30-second window to get in there.
So yeah, it was, while there is no way to join with your friends, it's super easy to join with your friends because nobody else is playing this game, and you just have Chris count it down. And then, which you have to count.
I am your friends.
You have to count it down because the menu system in this game is absurd. You can't just click on, this is the game I want to play online. There's like three times you have to click through, or, and that's true of everything. Firing this game up for the first time, where all four of us were like, hey, let's play now, was like,
I will concede that the menu is a bit much.
we had to all wait for 10 minutes to actually be able to play, because the first time you open this game, it makes you go through an arcane series of menus and then makes you unlock characters. Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a series first. You unlock characters via presence.
And the
Doesn't that sound dope? Everybody listening?
It does, I guess, if it felt like a reward and didn't feel like a punishment.
Yeah, it's like when you buy a game, when you buy like a Game of the Year edition of a game that has all the DLC added, and it's your first time ever playing the game, and you start and it's like, you've unlocked all these skins that were Target exclusive pre-order bonuses.
And you can't,
but now they're like part of the Game of the Year edition. But you have to,
yes.
It was like literally 10 minutes of popping balloons that had Tsums inside of them. And there was no way to back out.
Nope.
No way to make it go faster. No way to get to the main menu. You just had to press A over and over and over again.
Y'all's dopamine is fucked up. That's all I'm saying.
It would have been great if we weren't like, let's play at this specific time.
Well, I did my due diligence and I opened the game before we had to sit down. So I had already gone through that 10-minute session in bed.
I had also opened and played the game previous to
I was trying to come in fresh.
Something else that's a little backwards about this game is that most games you cannot play in handheld. Like the game requires you to play with a single Joy-Con.
Yes.
Even the games where like you're just using the stick and buttons, which would work perfectly fine in handheld mode, you have to use a Joy-Con on its side. So if you want to play this game in bed, you have to like have it between your legs with a Joy-Con in front of you.
Yeah, Disney Tsum Tsum is a Dom Daddy, and you have to do it her way.
Yeah, no Pro Controller either, which should work for everything. I mean, if you want pleasure, you're going to need to do what she says.
Welcome back to Super Dominatrix Head.
There are like 11 mini games in this game, and one of which, like you talked about, David, is one you can play in handheld, and then the other 10 you have to play with a single Joy-Con. And I don't know about y'all, but for a $60 game, I feel like 10, 11 mini games isn't quite enough. Like, I don't know. I feel like, or maybe it would be enough if the substance was there, but I don't know. Am I alone on that thought?
100% alone. 100%.
I think for a $60 game, it's a bit much. If I'm going to break the kayfabe here and talk about the realistic value proposition of Disney Tsum Tsum Festival, I think it's a little bit much. That having been said, it's constantly on sale in Bandai Namco sales on the Switch. So never for less than like $30.
Yeah,
but it is on sale quite a bit, and I'm sure it's going to continue to go down as Bandai Namco slowly realizes that no one in the West knows what a Tsum is.
Well, what about the specific games then? So we played, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them. Any standout games, or were all of them about the same to y'all? Matt, by the way, you were kind of cleaning up, especially early on.
I mean, the Tsum Tsum life chose me.
I would say Tsum Curling is pretty
Curling
fun.
is dope. Curling was so fun.
Yeah. And which I'm actually trying to matchmake right now, a game of Tsum Curling.
And this is
I hope you get in so you can have some fun.
To Chris's point of maybe it wasn't the best experience online. My wife and my kid and I played a little bit of this game after we played online some to test it further. And the curling you play locally is a little bit different. It's better.
Local curling is better.
How so?
Do they stay on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actual curling.
It's actual curling, but there are like magic magic items
curling with magic items
that can do like a magic trick, unlike the online thing too.
Wow.
So like you can pick an item. Well, I say pick. I think it's random, but
it's a little spinner.
Yeah, but it feels more. I don't know. They each have their strengths, I guess, but
like that.
But yeah.
Chris's Zoom background
like
is an
that.
arcade.
All right. I'm moving on from Tsum Curling to see if anybody else is playing any other mini games.
So we played a bunch of games. We played Tsum Chase, which is like a Pac-Man clone, I guess, because Bandai Namco made this game. They're like, why not? And we're going to throw in Pac-Man. Let's just make it Pac-Man, basically.
Okay, Tsum Chase is pretty fun. It reminded me of the Luigi's Mansion minigame from Nintendo Land. Did you guys ever play that for the Wii U?
No, tell us about it.
It's like it's a similar sort of thing where one person plays Luigi, like hunting for ghosts, and then all the other people are ghosts, like in a top-down sort of situation. And one person is using the game pad, right? And everybody else is looking at the TV. So that's kind of how it does it. So in this one as well, I mean, in this one, you're all basically multiplayer Pac-Man. So it's a little bit different.
All Pac-Mans.
Yeah. But it did remind me of that.
There was Ice Cream Stacker, which is like a classic things are falling and you have to catch them kind of game.
The things are ice cream.
The things are ice cream.
And they're
how delightful! How delightful is that?
It was delightful.
It's ice cream,
and it's motion controls.
Yeah,
and the thing you catch it in is a cone.
We played Spinner Battle,
which like you're on Main Street in the Magic Kingdom.
Patrick, before we move on, I also want to mention one big part of the online experience is that at the very beginning you choose what Tsum represents you as an individual.
Good call.
So I personally chose Lightning McQueen.
There's no one can confirm that that's true.
Yeah. And you choose the Tsum.
Yeah. It makes a big deal of it too.
Yeah, and you choose it from
ceremony.
Hawaii.
It's not a ceremony.
There's a festival. There's a parade. There's quint players from a marching band. They're all there, but the Tsum that you choose doesn't show as yours on other people's screens.
Yeah, it was really confusing because we'd be like, I'm the Captain Hook Tsum, and he's like, no, there's no Captain Hook Tsum on my screen or whatever.
Yeah. I always picked Festive Stitch as my Tsum.
No one can confirm that.
No one can confirm that. Nobody knows if that's actually the case. Like I would always show up as Elsa.
Yeah, it randomly generates the Tsums of the other players.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that this game was made for local only. And then Bandai Namco was like, listen, this game is going to be a fucking hit. Everyone is going to own this game. We need to have online multiplayer in at least some capacity. And in the fucking twilight hour of this game before it went gold, they added in online functionality, and this is what we got.
Geniuses. Absolute geniuses.
I'm not having any luck playing Tsum Chase, by the way.
Give it another shot.
Real quickly, the other games we played were Spinner Battle, which I think Matt or somebody pointed out was a lot like Crossfire.
Spinner Battle was fun.
Yeah, Spinner Battle was super fun.
Basically, there's a running theme here, and that's all these games are actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I had a blast.
There was the other.
You guys want to shit on this so bad, but you all had a great time, and it's a fun game.
I feel like let's talk about
Get
whether
out of
these
your
games are
cynicism
good.
and enjoy your lives.
There was Round and Round Run, which was kind of felt like a little bit like Fall Guys, but it's not, right? Like you're going on a map and you're trying to get gems and you can get knocked off and that kind of stuff.
This whole game honestly feels like Fall Guys. It feels like Fall Guys if it had way less people, terrible online, and
Disney skins.
You're
And
just
that's
digging in. You're just digging in.
Well,
You know
no, I'm
you're
just
wrong and you're digging in.
but it's like they still have sausage bodies, just like Fall Guys. Like their bodies are shaped the
I
same.
love games with little sausages in them.
So I think you're saying the games are fun, and I think the games are they're okay, but like they all felt like they were missing something, you know what I mean? Or like just I don't know. For me,
You know what it was?
what?
It's the in-person elements.
This is true.
I've played it in person with my wife and son. I don't know.
Yeah, not real competitors, not real gamers.
That's true. That's true. You gotta be
I
in
played with
person.
my 5-year-old son and I beat him. Congratulations, Patrick.
Should we talk about the aesthetics of the game, because it the music and the visuals, it does kind of feel like a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to look at for sure. It's a lot of really bright colors, but it's like everything is bright colors.
I hope you guys never find yourselves in a big city.
The backgrounds and the characters all blend together to where all I could see was just that things were moving on the screen.
I love it. I love it.
I also feel like Disney has lots of good music they could put into this game, but they didn't.
Well, they did some. There's like the Mickey Mouse theme from the Mickey Mouse Club, but it's like a
techno
techno.
remix
They tried to-
It's like a
of the Mickey
techno
Mouse
bop
theme.
They
version.
tried to make
Yeah, yeah.
remixes that I don't think are. Yeah, the techno remixes didn't work for me.
They're like dubstep versions of classic Disney numbers. Also, we didn't talk about Tsum Tsum Mania, which is the coin pusher game,
Oh, I must
which
have
Matt
left.
felt deeply addicted with. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys were like, I want to play a different game, and I'm like, fuck you, I'm moving on to Coin Pusher by myself, so I can unlock more Tsum Tsums.
yeah.
Honestly, the coin pusher game created a calm in me that only Animal Crossing has done previously now in this.
But it's kind of
so-
it's more like Japanese stuff to pile on for this game, because like Japanese culture is like very obsessed with coin pusher games. Like those are very huge in
Yeah,
Japan.
you guys just don't get it because you've never been to Japan.
That might be true.
There is a Tsum Tsum Puzzle, which is the handheld only game, and that is basically Pokemon Cafe Megamix. Like it's basically that game where it's like they all fall down and you have to like swirl them around and connect a bunch all together.
And I don't know the name of it, but there's one that you can't play online, I don't think, because we didn't. But
Zoom Rhythm.
is that the one? I was thinking of the one where you kind of shoot.
Oh yeah, the blaster one.
That's like you use your Joy-Con.
Mania. It's Tsum Tsum Mania, right?
No. Zoom Mania is the coin pusher game.
Are you sure?
No,
wait.
I think
No, it's not.
No, you're right. You're right.
Uh-huh.
I
Lost
am wrong.
Treasure is the coin
because
pusher.
the guns in that game look just like the guns on Toy Story Mania, which is like one of the best rides. at Disneyland Studios.
Right. You're right. I apologize to our listeners for getting that wrong.
Lost Treasure is the name of the coin pusher one. But yeah,
Don't ever correct me, Patrick.
Tsum Tsum Mania was okay, I guess. Just like you use your thing as a pointer and shoot things. Felt a lot like that game in Clubhouse games where you do that too.
Oh, your favorite game? your podcast's favorite game. This game reminded you of your podcast's favorite game.
Yeah.
I will say this does feel like Clubhouse 51 Worldwide Classics, but at like a 10th of the value of that game. You know what I mean? Like,
but that game doesn't have IP, my dude.
yeah, that's true. If it had Disney characters, I
that's the
probably would
value.
enjoy
That's
it
the
more.
value.
It's the
Yeah,
cost.
I think
It's
all
a
of this-
$5 game with $55 worth of IP in it.
I think we're really dancing around a pretty serious subject here, and it's something that I think that we should just cut the bullshit and get right to the chase. Let's cut to brass tacks here, okay? And is this game better than Town?
Yes. I don't know, actually. Yes.
That's
I
one,
think
baby.
So. Yes, I'm going to
That
say
is one.
yes.
I think this game is better than Little Town Hero.
That
Yeah.
is two.
I mean, the coin pusher alone is better
Yes!
than Town.
We all agree. All right, now
It's
we've got
unanimous.
a baseline. Let's move up from here.
Is this game better than?
Yeah. If you're still
That's what
listening,
this podcast is going to be for the rest of its existence. Is X game better than Disney Tsum Tsum Festival?
if you're still listening to this podcast episode, at the end of season 1, we did a Town review. And talked all about Town because we hyped that shit up for so goddamn long.
Am I correct that Little Town Hero or Town was first announced in that February 2019 Nintendo Direct as well?
Was it really?
Yeah.
I-
It was a.
I think it
You're
might have
asking the-
been.
I'm a Town head. It was. I think it's September.
Oh, it was the one
2018.
later. in the year?
2018.
Oh,
Yeah,
2018.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I think it's definitely better than Little Town Hero. Little Town Hero, you have to play by yourself, which would be fine.
Right.
Which would be fine if it was a good game, but it felt.
Say, the great thing about Disney Tsum Tsum Festival is you can't even play it by yourself.
Can we agree that if good games get positive number scores and bad games get negative number scores, that this game is a 0? Can we agree there? Can we baseline Disney Tsum Tsum Festival?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Be the thing that we compare all other video games to.
I'm okay with Disney Tsum Tsum Festival being the control by which we judge all other games.
I will take that as a win.
I
Go
mean,
out there and buy it. It's $30. I recommend it.
I think that I do think that in order for us to really give this game a fair shake, I really do feel like we need a COVID vaccine. Really,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I think we need a COVID vaccine so that we know we're not going to get each other or our grandparents sick.
If the worst game in the world is a -10 and the best game in the world is a 10, if we play this in person, I guarantee 3+. Guarantee 3+.
All right.
Okay, David. If
That's
you,
on the 20-point Super Switch Headz scale of rating.
David, if it's fair for you to ask for a COVID vaccine, then I think it's also fair to ask RBG's seat remain vacant as well.
Yeah.
I think we should use Lindsey Graham's words against him.
Yeah.
Wait, how has this become so political all of a sudden?
That's all of
Are
our
you kidding?
episodes.
You spent an hour talking about capitalism, David. How much does this cost? How much is the fucking PS5? Oh, there are 2 prices? They're both too fucking high? This whole show is about capitalism.
Listen, we're just an unsponsored, unpaid shill for Nintendo. Okay, let me have this.
I love this show more than anything in the entire world.
More than Disney Tsum Tsum Festival? Can we agree that
this show is also a 0.
this show is the baseline?
I would give this show 3 Disney Tsum Tsum festivals out of 10.
Out of 10 to -10. Out of 10 to -10. You're easily a 3.
Can't we just
I
say
bet I could
0
get-
to 20?
No, Patrick.
Absolutely not.
No, Patrick. That
Bad
would be
games
too.
get negative scores.
That would be non-Euclidean, and that's not what we're all about.
Okay, if we play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival in person after a
vaccine?
A vaccine.
And
Merrick Garland is put back on the Supreme Court.
and
I can move it in your minds to the same level that I think about your podcast,
Okay,
God
That's
bless
fair.
you.
which is high.
that's good to know.
God bless you.
Oh
Chris
man,
McKeever.
I'm gonna have to really treat the volume on this section of the podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm passionate.
No, it's me too. I'm looking at my waveforms. Anyway, well,
I think we did it. I think we
Yeah.
played the game. We talked about the game. What else? Is there anything else before we move on?
I think this bit has run its course.
Yeah. If there's anything that this episode has proved is that we're committed to our bits.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
We're going to thank you in a minute for coming on the show, but thanks, Chris, for making us play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I think that at least every season of Super Switch Headz, we'll all have to buy one game that nobody wants to play. And although I will say, Chris bought my copy of Disney Tsum Tsum
so
Festival.
I wanted to correct people about what I had said before. The answer is 2 people bought this, and 1 person bought 2 copies of this.
Thank you, Chris, for buying me Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
You're welcome. I bought yours at full price, like when it came out. Like,
No, it was on sale.
no, it wasn't.
Oops.
Oh, you just stole my money. That's what you're telling me.
My bad.
It's fine. You can have it.
Oh,
This
Here,
podcast is worth $50.
Very good. Very good.
awesome. If there's nothing else, then we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about all the other games we've been playing aside from Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
But that's
No,
all
we'll
I've been playing.
be talking more about it whenever we come back.
I imagine that we're going to talk more about Mario and all that, but I also have been playing a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I picked back up Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm 3rd time's the charm, baby. I'm really trying to get into this game this time around.
Talk to me, baby.
Yeah, I think I just was like, I really need to figure out where I am and what my goal is, and just go to the next story beat and not try to do some side mission. So I started doing that, and I'm back into it. I'm pretty early on. I think I've got 5 hours logged into it, but I'm going to try to stick with it this time. I'm playing it on the Switch Lite, which is kind of like my machine, so I can just keep it going. You know what I mean?
Listen to how somber we sound when we're not talking about Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
Yeah. Disney Tsum Tsum Festival is the best.
We're like, yeah, I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again.
It's just not the same as that coin pusher.
Just playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, dreaming of those Tsum Tsums.
But briefly on the Mario games,
Yeah, let's talk Mario 3D All-Stars.
yeah,
I could talk that. I've been playing that.
maybe we can just all kind of talk about that then.
Yeah.
I'm started with 64, and I'm playing it through with my son, and so
Awesome.
I was like, you know what, I'm going to play it through with him, and then also play on my account to kind of do what I want to do. And then it was like nighttime, and we had already gotten like 20 stars, and I was like, I'm not redoing all that work. I'm going to play a little bit of Sunshine. And I started playing Sunshine, and I just switching the controls in my head from 64 to, I've never played Sunshine, so the flood was hard to control for me. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it through 64 with my kid, and then we'll play through Sunshine. I don't,
Yeah. I think that's probably the way to go, right? It's like chronologically, because then it's like the next game you play has like more features and better textures and resolution and all that kind of stuff.
I keep hitting the trigger to like do backflips, and like that's the flood button and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like, you know what? I need to just separate those in my brain. I'm sure I could if I wanted to, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how is Magnus enjoying Mario 64?
Well, it's single player, so it's in theory we pass it back and forth, but he's been wanting me to do a lot of it. I think it's kind of hard, you know what I mean, for a young kid. And then like also, and this seems ridiculous to say, but it's maybe a little bit scary too, like more than other Mario games. Like it's got some
Please explain.
I think it's got some creepy elements. You're alone in this giant castle, and like some of the like the ghost house level and stuff, it's just kind of creepy. It doesn't creep me out, but I think he's been like, this part's too scary. I don't want to play this part. You play it. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Not like,
Sunshine might really freak him out with the negative Mario that's chasing you.
Not like
all
he's
the time.
afraid and wants to go in the other room, but just like, that sort of like you do it. This part's too scary and stressful for me. So, but it's been fun. I love Mario 64. I also was like, you know what? I'm going to 100% this game. But now I'm like, man, getting 100 coins on some of these levels and stuff, I don't think I can do it.
Yeah, right before we recorded this episode, I tried to get 100 coins in the like volcano level.
No, that one in
like
particular.
the lava. That one is tough to get 100 because you have to have X amount before you go into the volcano. Because I don't think you can leave the volcano, can you? Once you're in there, yeah. So that was a little frustrating, but I agree though. Mario 64 is still so fucking good, and it still plays great. I wish it was widescreen. I wish it didn't have the little black bars on the top and bottom, like it's a little square in the middle of your Switch screen. But regardless, I've just wanted to have Mario 64 on my Switch for a really long time, and it's good to finally have it. I will say the thing that's fucking with me most is none of the games are inverted now. They changed the y-axis inversion.
Oh,
to where
yeah, that's
everything
been messing
is
me up really bad,
like
too.
That's
swimming
messing me up.
and
Then
stuff.
also the horizontal inversion has changed. So the camera doesn't move left and right the way that it did in the old one. And then obviously up and down is also different. And that's throughout all the games. So like Mario Sunshine also has the inversion taken away.
I was wondering why I was so bad at trying to figure out where the camera was.
Yeah. But swimming is still inverted.
Okay, so yeah, that's what threw me off, because like I'm swimming inverted.
Yeah.
So's flying.
Yeah, and flying is inverted still, and all that stuff still feels natural to me, but then you have to like switch back. It's dumb, and that's like clearly something that should have been in a menu that they fixed.
It took me a really long time to get the 8 red coins in the flying hat
Same.
level.
Yeah.
And every time I'd leave, I'd try and look back up into it, but I would always just look at the ground. Because I was just doing it inverted a second ago.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb. And Sunshine specifically, because you're doing a lot of vertical aiming in that game with your pack. So I wish that had I wish that there was some way to fix that, and hopefully they patch that in. But I'm definitely not holding my breath.
I don't think they're going to patch anything into these games.
Matt, what have you been playing out of this collection so far?
Only Sunshine.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. Sunshine is the Mario game I have the least memories of, and the Mario game that I played the least. Because it was right in that I was probably just started college, and I was
Too cool for Nintendo.
No. Too cool for Nintendo, exactly.
Right.
So I only played through it once and never ever again. So I'm really excited to. I think I maybe have a little over 10 stars. So it's really nice to revisit this with. It feels different and controls different. And David, you were talking like it's weird not to have a long jump.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a really hard movement mechanic to be missing. But it's still
in a collection that has 2 other games with long
Yeah.
jump in it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
switching between Sunshine and 64 is so hard, because it's just your movements are different.
Yeah, I've never played Sunshine, so I'm excited to play it for the
Yeah.
first time.
It's an
ahead.
underrated game for sure. Yeah. I'll say, I played a little bit of Sunshine, and I've been also mostly been playing Mario 64. I think I'm at like 60 stars maybe at this point, or 55, something like that. But I'm, it's great on the Switch because, you can just pick it up and do 1 or 2 stars and put it back down. And it's a great pick up and play game. Sunshine, I think, also feels really great. I think the movement in that game, not long jump missing notwithstanding, the movement is still so tight in that game, and like you feel like super powered compared to what you can do in Mario 64, which also controls really, really well. But like, yeah, the dive mechanic in that game, you can just like string together these dives, and then getting up with the jetpack and everything to be able to fly to high places is a ton of fun. But I think the standout in this collection is Galaxy. I think Galaxy plays so goddamn well in its current incarnation. And playing it with the Pro Controller, where you're controlling the cursor as well as you're moving the Pro Controller around, I think feels very, very natural. And it's a great way for them to tackle the issue of porting a game that is made for pointer controls on the Wii, right? And I think and also it's just the best looking game. It's gorgeous, the game was gorgeous in 480i, it's going to look great in 1080p. And, it's like the game that's had the least amount done to it, but feels the best, and it's a little unfair because it's the newest, I suppose. But yeah, that game is so much fun. I can't wait to get to that when I eventually do chronologically after I beat the 2 games previous to it. Have you played any Galaxy, Chris?
I played through it on the Wii, but I haven't played it on Switch yet.
Right.
Yeah, I've only put like a couple of hours into All Stars 3D so far. So I've got like 20 stars, but I haven't left like I'm gonna 100% it very slowly and very methodically. So like I've done everything that I can in Bob-omb, then
right.
You know, I'm not leaving this foyer until all the stars are gone.
So you're playing it like a speedrunner, but also very slowly.
Yeah. Very slow speedrun version of the game.
How do we feel about the collection as a whole? Do you think it's worth the $60?
It's money. Capitalism. It's
seriously though. I mean, like if somebody had to choose between this and like several indie games, would you recommend this?
It's tough. It's really fun to play through Mario 64 again, and I feel like I have a lot of content ahead of me in terms of the other two games.
Yeah,
but it just feels also like it doesn't. I don't know that it doesn't feel. It feels like they could have done more, you know, and that does kind of sit there.
And they could have for sure. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Chris?
I was just going to say that the thing that I do like about it is it feels like it's part of a grand tradition, right? It being the second Mario All-Stars game.
Sure.
And I'm a nostalgic little baby, and
for some reason I thought you were going to say shit weasel.
I'm a nostalgic little shit weasel, and I feel comforted by the idea that there's a thing like this that happened before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a creature of habit as well. It's nice to see repeating patterns throughout time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I also wish that they did more, but I think that the fact that this, you know, was made this year, like, and is just 3 of the best games of all time, I think. And so it's like, it's hard not to recommend this package. I think that, you know, I can see myself putting tons and tons of time into this game. And I've played all these games before, but it's like, I think having them on the go alone justifies the price for me. I've been very happy with it personally.
I've only played it handheld so far, and I think I probably will play it through handheld.
Yeah, I would recommend playing Galaxy on a TV just because the motion control pointer stuff, you have to touch the screen in handheld, which is not ideal, I think, for that game.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about the other games I've been playing this week, if that's all right. I'll go through these kind of quick. In addition to that, I did pick up Hades, and I love Hades. Hades is great. Everybody was like, David, you should get Hades. You would love Hades because you love roguelikes, and this is like a really, really good roguelike. And I didn't want to get it because, you know, I also just got Spelunky 2, which is a roguelike, and I'm loving that game. And I just got this, and I knew I'd be getting the Xbox pre-order and all that kind of stuff. But fuck it. I mean, I gave into pressure because our Discord is like a hype machine, and I got Hades, and I don't regret it. Hades is a fantastic game. If you played Transistor or Bastion, 2 other games by Supergiant, they also did the game Pyre. Then you'll know the level of like polish and love and care that goes into these games, and it's them tackling the roguelike genre, and it works so well. And it's, you know, a retelling of Greek myth, and you play the son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld and get out into the regular world in between Olympus and the underworld. And it's just a fantastic game, and I really recommend it. I'm sure I'll talk more about it in the future after I've played it more. I played a little bit of Jeopardy for the Switch. Sasha picked up Jeopardy the other day, and we played some Jeopardy together, and it's a ton of fun. Jeopardy on the Switch is super fun, and I really recommend it.
Do you have to type in answers?
No, that's the one thing. It probably would work better as a Jackbox style game that you play on your phone, but instead it's multiple choice.
Is it better than Disney Tsum Tsum Festival?
Yes.
Is it better than
I do not believe you. I do not believe you.
Is it better than the coin pusher game at Disney Tsum Tsum Festival?
I think so, yes. It's also $4 on the eShop right now. Regardless, Jeopardy is a really fun time, and I recommend it. Shout out to Robert Moses, who's been on the show multiple times, who introduced Sasha to the Switch version of Jeopardy, which made her want to get it in the first place. And then finally, the last thing I'll say is I did get Game Pass in preparation for this Xbox Series S pre-order. And so I've been trying out some games on the xCloud Game Pass streaming on my phone. And it actually works really, really well. I use my 8-bit Do controller with a clip to put my phone in, and I was playing lots of games. I played some new Super Lucky's Tale, which is on Game Pass, which I enjoyed. I played some Carrion from our friends at Devolver Digital, which is grotesque and fucked up, and I love it so far. I played some of Halo 3 as well in the Master Chief Collection, and I'll say xCloud on Android feels really, really good. The streaming is solid as long as you have a pretty good internet connection, of which mine is suspect and still played pretty well. It had some latency issues, but ultimately this felt to me like a preview of what I'll be getting with Game Pass whenever I eventually do get that Series S in the future. So yeah, it's a good bang for your buck, and I'm already seeing a lot of games that I'd like to go back to. Matt, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing 3 games. Mario 3D All-Stars Sunshine, which we've already talked about. I played Among Us for the first time, which it's incredibly fun to play, and love playing any kind of deception game like Werewolf or Mafia, or there's like a push-the-button Jackbox game. But it's also just fun to play with people who don't have a console, who have smartphones. And it's like
it's all cross-platform.
It's all cross-platform. I played it on PC. Some other people played it on their iPad. Chris McKeever just changed his Zoom background to Tsum Tsum Festival. You son of a bitch. And Among Us is great. It's like such a fun game to pick up, and the games don't take too long. Pretty good.
That's great.
And then I continue to play Blade and Sorcery, which is a sandbox first-person VR game, and they just have an update with a Titan spell, which makes you like a Titan, really big. So you just reach down and pick up dudes and throw them in the air. It's a silly ass game.
That sounds really satisfying.
I was gonna say it sounds like Chris is horny for that.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly satisfying.
It's great. So they did have a Titan spell, but they also have this other spell, like a dagger spell, which you summon daggers in your wrists and you just throw them at people.
That's awesome.
How do I get this? Give me this.
You need Index VR.
Well, first thing we need is a COVID vaccine, and then we need to keep RGB's Supreme Court seat free.
That one's going to be harder than the first one.
Yeah,
Ruth Gator Binsberg.
And then I'll invite you over to play.
Ruth Gator Binsberg. Wait, were you there? Were you watching that shit?
What are you talking about?
We talked about that on Fuck This Week on
no. I always say RGB as well because of, I'm a hardcore hashtag gamer. And so I talk about RPG all the time. And so I accidentally say Ruth Gator Binsberg a lot. Yeah.
Ruth Gator Binsberg.
It's easy. I will always introduce people to Blade and Sorcery because it's such a fun sandbox game to play and great way to release stress.
Very good.
Great.
Chris. What about you, Chris?
I play in 2 games other than the Mario that I've already previously discussed. I'm playing Among Us, which Matt mentioned. My favorite thing in that game is the tasks. My favorite way to play is to be killed early and then just go do my tasks. I love it.
What's your favorite task?
I like wires.
Wires
a lot.
are good. I like the uploading and the downloading part.
Yeah. Oh no. Asteroids. 100%. Asteroids is my favorite task.
That's a good one too.
20 asteroids is super fun. And then I you can pump Fall Guys into my veins, and that's all I do. All I do is play Fall Guys. Last night I finally got one of those like flex 10 crown outfits. I got this dope diver's helmet and this a little purple aquarium belly.
Cute.
I look tight as
Very
fuck.
good. A quick shout out to Chaz, aka The Legs from Two Kids in a Big Coat. You guys are streaming still every single Friday, right?
Every
Playing
single
Fall
Friday.
Guys. Are you guys going to move back
Chaz is my ride or die.
Maker? Are you guys going to move back to Mario Maker anytime soon?
Sometime.
Yeah.
yeah, eventually we'll probably move back to Mario Maker. I think we're probably going to play 3D World.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I pre-ordered it already.
I would love to watch you guys play 3D World.
Real quick,
Yeah,
just because I always have to talk about my kid, he made his 100th Mario Maker level today. So
Wow.
Congrats, Magnus.
his like profile is full up. He's like, well, I guess I'm going to play on Mama's profile now.
I thought he was going to I'm going to move on with my life.
He should make a world. We'll play it on stream.
Oh, he has.
Dude,
It's bad, but
It's bad.
Yo, what?
well,
I'll play that world?
Yeah, we'll play that world.
he started making the world when his levels have gotten better, but his world has a lot of his early levels on it. Is my
Wow,
opinion.
Just trashing your own kid like
Hey,
that.
I'm telling you, he's improving.
maybe like casually suggest that maybe he wants to make a second world.
Yeah, right. And then we'll upload that one.
Yeah. Without your bad levels, son.
Let him know he's disappointed.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are my games.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Awesome. So that's it for the show. Thanks so much, Chris McKeever, for coming on and making us play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
Thank you, Chris.
Was a delight.
It was.
Absolutely.
It was. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, you find me as PDYX everywhere.
I'm on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Chris? Where can people find you?
Please don't look for me.
What about Two Kids in a Big Coat? We got that.
Yeah, you can watch Two Kids in a Big Coat on Fridays.
On Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Two Kids in a Big Coat. The number 2 Kids in a Big Coat.
That's great. We gotta stream Disney Tsum Tsum Festival on Two Kids in a Big Coat sometime.
Yeah, hell yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen the end of Disney Tsum Tsum Festival, no matter how much you're tired of hearing it at the end of every
Because
single episode.
once there's a vaccine, we're playing in person.
But we'll play in person.
And
Once there's a vaccine and we can invite Merrick Garland over to play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival with us, we will finally have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. If you would like to find our show on social media, we are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We are at Switch Headz on Twitter. Make sure you join our Discord, which we will have a link to in the description of this video or audio, and also our Facebook group. We'll have links for both of those in the description as well. Both of those are popping off all the time. We got lots of discussion, lots of people playing games, lots of fun stuff for everybody. So if you're interested in this podcast, you'll have a great time in those groups. So please join us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our episode on Disney Tsum Tsum Festival. And that's going to do it for Season 2 of Super Switch Headz. I think that has been a pretty good season. These seasons are arbitrary. There's no set number of episodes in any of them. But we felt like taking a week off next week. So next week we will not have a full episode of the show. We should have a bonus episode up for you if all goes well and if I feel like editing that on time. We'll see about that. That'll be a very special episode, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. We'll be back with all new Nintendo news, all new news in the gaming sector and beyond. And maybe if you play your cards right, you'll get a little update on Disney Tsum Tsum Festival. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We love you. Keep washing your hands. Wear your fucking mask. The pandemic isn't over. Vote. Please vote. Go register. I guess registration will be done by the time you hear this. But just vote, and vote for the right people. There are bad people, and you know who they are. Vote for the good people. We love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.